Hawaii's most powerful political leaders, the late Senator Daniel Akaka questioned a high-ranking military official about the viability of the fuel tanks. It's evidence that leaks had been happening for 2 decades. Chief investigative reporter Lynn Kawano has that letter showing the Navy knew back then about the dangers.
Senator Akaka sent the letter to the Secretary of the Navy in 2006. In it, concerns about leaks that already occurred. The letter from the late senator was sent to Donald Winter, then head of the Department of the Navy. The letter is dated September 12, 2006. It was about outsourcing maintenance work on the Red Hill facility, but the senator also tells Secretary Winter he would appreciate assistance in looking further into an earlier question concerning measures taken by the Navy to safeguard the Red Hill fuel tanks from leakage. He writes, his office has learned that, in fact, leaks did occur and that the tanks were drained and cleaned. They had been empty at the time for 2 years, meaning leaks had been happening at least 20 years ago. Akaka continues he also wants an explanation for the Navy's decision to discontinue a leak detection system that proved successful in identifying the leaking fuel tanks. He asked for further investigation into the cause of the leaks, the amount of fuel that leaked, and steps taken to clean up the soil contaminated.
Our elected officials at the U.S. congressional level definitely knew the risk that Red Hill posed to the water supply, and that they were trying to engage with the military to get those risks mitigated and addressed.
The Akaka letter is the earliest documented warning from a high-ranking politician, according to the nonprofit Earth Justice.
When the U.S. military comes in and says, don't worry, we've got this handled, they don't really leave a lot of room for us to question that.
I mean, this is the men and women who wind up going to service. They bring their spouse, their children, and over 20 years ago, there were concerns about fuel contaminating their drinking water, what they're using to cook, and it's ignored.
Attorney Michael Green represents dozens who are suing after they were sickened by a massive leak in 2021. Fuel got into the water system that serves military families and civilians. The Navy later admitted at least 6,000 people needed medical treatment.
I'm worried about deformed babies. I'm worried about miscarriages. I'm worried about cancers. They could have done something about it decades ago.
As work begins to empty the Red Hill tanks of more than 100 million gallons of fuel, the military has pledged transparency and a years-long environmental abatement effort. I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.